Five.
Welcome everyone to our committee meetings for Monday, August 11th. We have two committee meetings tonight. We'll start off with the County Services Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to call County Services at 6:03. And there are no action items tonight. However, I would like to have Ira, well, and give us more good news.
Okay, yes,
certainly.
Good evening. Okay, so I'm gonna bring you on my little journey. So some facts have changed. Okay, so some of this I told you already, but some of the facts have changed, so we'll just go through line item by line item. So we're gonna start out with SNAP. So SNAP, as you know, currently, the federal government gives me 50% of the administrative costs. The new change is adding an additional 55%, so we'll be paying 75%.
Can you zoom in on that a little bit? I'm sorry. Hard to.
What was the question?
No, I just couldn't see it. That's all.
Thanks, Kim. Yeah. Getting old.
Thank you.
Visually.
Okay, so we good? Everybody else can see it? We good?
Charlie, you can see that, right?
You saw that? Oh, yeah.
Boy, they're mean. Okay, so that means the administrative cost is gonna fiscal year 27, which means for us it's October 26th. So I needed to budget for that. So my increased costs for the whole year are gonna be over 245,000, which means for the next budget, we're gonna see 61,000 in change.
SNAP is a requirement directly from the federal government to the counties.
No, from the feds to the state, and the state passes it on to the county.
And the state pays zero.
The state, yeah, basically the state's been no skin in the game for a long time. Okay, now a little further there, Kevin. Okay, so the other change in there is the work requirements that I talked about. So it's ABODs. What they did is they changed the definition of the able-bodied adults without dependents. What it currently was 18 to 54. They put it from 18 to 64. So at this point, with the expanded definition, if you have a child in the house, it has to be at 14 or under. And then it got rid of the exemptions that I talked about last time. So if you're homeless, if you're a veteran, or somebody 24 or younger and you're in foster care on your 18th birthday. So the rules and regulations between the programs are gonna be different, because you're gonna notice when I get to Medicaid, those particular rules are still gonna be there. And then the education component that Cornell had a big piece in, they're stopping the funding for that too. That's stopping in September of this year.
So are these guidelines set forth by the federal government?
These are federal changes to the state, correct?
Do you happen to have an idea on the percentage of people that will be removed from the rolls?
Yep, hold on to that question.
Okay.
I'll get to it. Now a little bit further there, Kevin. Okay, so the timeline for that is immediately. We're waiting for the USDA to drop the guidelines. I'm surprised, and frankly, it's taken as long as it has, because it's been a couple weeks since we've been here. So another month since I've spoken to you. I would think that that's gonna happen by October. We have to answer your question. 3,749 recipients. Last time I told you it was gonna impact 281. We had to hand count those. We were a little shocked to think that we had retirees retired at the age of 55 to 64. We did not count them. That was our error that we made. Counting in the retirees who are retired, up to 64, it brought my number up to 500. So because of that, the increased work of what we need to do in the next budget on requesting an additional social welfare examiner. Any questions on SNAP before I go to HEAP? Okay, so HEAP. So I'm looking at a timeline for HEAP of this November. And what we had done last year was 4,364 benefits. Over 1,000 of those were for emergencies, for a total of $3.2 million. If we don't get any HEAP at all, we're still gonna have to fulfill emergency requests for people who are eligible. I'm anticipating that to be over $402,000. I do not have that in the budget, because I didn't think that this was gonna happen last year. So that's a little surprise if that happens. And then I'm budgeting over $805,000 for the next year for 26.
Same question as before, because did the eligibility requirements change for that program as well? And if it did, how much will it affect it?
The president eliminated the program. So total elimination, this is,
There
this
is
is
no
what I,
eligibility.
yeah, this is
Close
what
the
you
office.
anticipate.
So we're just responsible for 100% of the people that apply for
Okay,
heat.
there is no heat. There'll be no, if there's no heat, there's no applying for heat. What I'm telling you up here is emergency people under public assistance. If they come in and they need fuel, we're gonna have to make sure that happens.
And there's no state programs or anything, it's just all on the county?
No, it's all in the county. That was a total federal benefit.
Thank you.
Yeah, right. You're already getting calls on this, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And I think
Every
services
is
is capturing some of the costs
Yeah.
too.
So we don't have any requirements? If it just doesn't, I mean, I could be 18 years old and need it and I can get it because of what reason?
You could be 18.
What requirements, how do you
So-
meet the necessity to get heat?
So if you're 18 and you're able to work, you have to work. But there's a whole litany of other requirements. I mean, are you in a house? Are you a landlord? Are you responsible for the heat? There's quite a few hoops that people have to jump through to even get that benefit. We served here in Greene County, out of these 4,364, these were senior citizens on a fixed income.
Mhm.
So the regular benefit didn't look at resources. When you looked at emergencies, we had to look at the resource test. So it's, every program is totally different. I truly really kind of simplified so you can understand, you know, kind of the money that I'm talking about, of the big screen that we're looking at.
I'm just asking, there is requirements you have to meet.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So,
That's it.
so there's a new change. Just last week, I found out about the change. And Kevin, if you go down further, I'll tell you what it is. Okay, so the Senate Appropriations Committee just approved $4 billion with a B, this is across the nation, in funding for fiscal year 26. That's actually a 20 million increase over the current enacted funding. That is rejecting the president's proposal to eliminate the program, and it now awaits action by the U.S. House of Representatives. They're in recess, and they're not going back until September. Okay, we've had snow in October. I'm 2 months behind on the work for this program.
Back to where you were before, is it still, if you're on SNAP, that you automatically get that's still going? That ever,
So in the current regulations, that they are trying to disconnect that. So, they haven't addressed that yet, but there was a $21 benefit that happened in New York City. You are correct about that. We don't know what's gonna happen with that.
And Kyra, the emergency, helping them out with their fuel, is that like, will only help you out one time throughout the fiscal year, or can they every month come to you for an
If they're
emergency?
eligible, the eligible for fuel, we, and the regulations, we give 150 gallons at a time. Think about a season, about how many gallons somebody would use in a house if they're eligible. Okay, so this is a big if, and there has to be a lot of agreement for this to happen. So this has happened. When I stood before you last month, this was not there yet. So that is a change. So technically, we could have a heat program. Any questions about that?
When we give out those emergency funds to somebody who owns a home, do we attach a lien? to The property,
Medicaid takes the lien, the other,
HMS,
but that's only the Medicaid side of the house.
Right.
There's usually not a lien. If there's a lawsuit and there's money available, we can take back public assistance money, but usually on the other side. There was prior legislation that lifted those liens on those particular kids.
Kyra, who fills these tanks, the 150 gallons at a time?
The state actually got vendor lists, so there are certain vendors that they would work with, and we have quite a few of them here, we've listed vendors.
And those people get paid promptly for sending that fuel to these? Or is it a long wait for them, do you know?
It used to be by Christmas time, the state would open up what I call the locks and they'd pay out all the early payments and things like that. Last couple of years, I think it's pretty timely. So the state does the payment. We do very few of the payments here locally.
Do you have, book available or anything like that on the statutes that require us to do this?
Yeah.
That we can review and why we have to pay for it on a program that state or federal government
So,
is funding?
so it's actually in the state constitution where it says you shall provide. So it starts.
No. There's gonna be a specific law for that.
Every one of these programs I'm talking about, there are statutes of what we have to do.
I know, but don't say the state constitution, that's a completely different animal when you talk about what we're required to do by
Okay.
an individual statute, especially at the federal level.
So when I get to the Medicaid piece, I'll show you the letter that the state Medicaid director gave us, basically threatening us.
Okay.
So, okay. Any more questions on this before we go on? Okay, let's go on to the next program. Childcare services, oh, I have really good news here. Okay, families who are guaranteed childcare services, we must guarantee childcare services to a family regardless of whether social service district has any state or federal funds available under the program to pay for all or a portion of the costs. So they give us an allocation, I figure out the allocation, problem being is I have to guarantee in every case 12 months of a guarantee. So that means we have to calculate the type, the case it is and what's going on. About a month and a half ago, I emailed the state commissioner, I was looking for over $1 million for the next allocation. The next allocation is gonna go from October. Well, a lot of other counties had done the same thing, and I just got the allocation, and we currently have 66 cases. The next allocation I just got last week was 531,000 and change, which will go from October to September. My current spending is over $115,000 per month. I have enough funding to cover 4.5 months. So as of tomorrow, we are stopping the cases. It's only the guarantee cases, and every recertification will be closed until I move down to basically spend what I'll be able to spend. So the majority of those cases will be closed. Questions on that? Okay.
Childcare, who guarantees this?
If you're under public assistance, that'll be a guaranteed case. If your income's low enough. What happened is the governor really expanded childcare, so people making up to $113,000 were eligible for child.
What?
So the program got really big,
Close about to fund it.
Are you
and
kidding
then there
me?
was no funding.
So we're in this quagmire over a
I
bunch of
should apply for childcare. What was
terrible
I thinking?
financial decisions being made 25 miles north of you.
And the 12-month guarantee just blew me out of the water, basically.
That's a quick one.
Okay, so that's starting tomorrow. Let's go on for more good news.
It's not gonna be much better.
I'm on a roll.
There's gonna be a recurring theme.
I think they figured that out.
Yeah.
Okay, so Medicaid, I really simplified Medicaid because we could spend hours on it. And since we're not provider rich, there's not a lot of things like the taxes that really impact us. So I just took a snapshot of what I thought really impacted us that you guys would really like to hear. So they're starting the work requirements. So it's gonna be 19 to 64. You can see the difference already. It's not 18, it's 19. But it's not gonna be in the population that we serve. We serve the disabled population. This is gonna be for the able-bodied adults who really belong to the exchange. So when I do the report, the 12,000 number, it's in that number of those clients. It's gonna be 80 hours a month, and that will start December 31st to 26th. So the piece that's gonna hit us here is the retroactive coverage. When somebody puts in a Medicaid application, we date stamp everything. And historically, we were able to go 3 months or 90 days before that, especially if somebody was in a nursing home, took a long time to get the documentation that they needed. So that's been changed. So it's gonna be 1 month for the folks who are at the exchange and 2 months for the people that we serve here. So it's down to 60 days. And that's gonna be January 27th. Okay, so there's gonna be more frequent eligibility terminations. So for, again, not our population, but for the exchange, it's gonna go from 12 months to every 6 months. So it's gonna be a lot of churning in that program. And that time frame
Is this
is December.
like all right, so it starts on December 31st and then the next evaluation, I guess you'd call it, would be 6 months from that date? So is there a two
No.
definitive dates or is it any day
No,
someone
it's-
comes in?
So I could be reserved in March and you could be reserved in May, just depends when you put in your application. So when you come up.
6 months between them,
After
but
that
not
date,
calendar date.
Okay.
so they'll do it that way. And then the aliens, there's lots of questions about that. They're still looking, the state's still looking at the full impact of what that really means, you know, because they have to take it by country, and really figure out, what they mean there. So they told me more guidance is gonna be coming, but that, date will be October 1st. Okay, so this piece here, I think, legislative view, which you'll like, yeah, could you put up the letter, the state Medicaid director?
Means you're gonna hate it.
So this letter, in my career, I've never seen a letter from a state director come in that's threatening if he didn't do anything wrong. So I'm looking at this letter and I'm like thinking, what in the world did I just do? I think I'm a little clueless here. But it was sent to all of us. I didn't realize that when I was reading the letter. But the state Medicaid director wanted to say that as an LDSS, you have obligations and responsibilities relative to Medicaid enrollees, consumers in your counties. Responsibilities include authorizing personal care services for consumers in your county who are not enrolled in managed care plan, developing and maintaining the plan of care, minimizing disruptions in services, reassessing consumer eligibility in timely manner. So they put the regulations right in there, and complying with other administrative and program requirements, articulating administrative directives and other program guidance. Additionally, you have obligations related to member enrollment in the Medicaid program, including completing public health emergency online renewal cases in a timely manner. And then what's the difference here is this is our rules and regulations, it's 18 NYCRR. Here is a social service law that goes behind those regulations that they're able to do that. So there's all kind of different rules and regulations that they look at. Here's the penalty that they were looking at if you didn't do those two things. And 13 counties actually ended up in this little nightmare. So the Department of Health is going to review compliance with the obligations and responsibilities. If a district fails to meet any of the obligations and is determined as failing to adhere to state laws and guidance, the Department of Health will take immediate action to withhold the district's monthly Medicaid administrative claim reimbursement. That has happened across the state. There's been pushback for that. They were told they need to get in compliance or they're going to hold the administrative dollars. If they took my administrative dollars, I'm talking about almost $1.2 million. That's where they kind of start. It tells you where they have the ability to do that. And it was also telling people what they need to do to stay in compliance. So again, the state's behaving very differently. But again, we weren't caught up in this. Our online cases were okay. They were looking at counties who had 500 plus online cases that weren't done. Everything has to be completed by December 31st. So we were okay. We kind of knew where we were in the queue. Can we go back to, any questions about this before I go back?
Yeah, so on those, state, so-called laws on public emergency, is she gonna have, the governor gonna have to declare a state of emergency in order for us to be, have to comply on those?
No,
No?
I think this, yeah. She.
Why not? It
she's-
says public
she's done.
emergency.
No, that was the, okay, the public emergency was the cases that they didn't enforce all the rules. It's called the unwind period. The federal government is holding the state, to their rules saying that we need to look at all these cases by December 31st.
It's social services law 364 and social services law 366.
Yeah, but Mike, you don't understand. The good thing is the federal government is saving you so much money that it's just like you say.
There's no saving money. They're 37 trillion in debt.
No,
There's no
they're
saving
gonna,
money.
they're doing this to save you money, so you're gonna pay less in federal taxes, your state taxes will go up, but your federal taxes, you're gonna save boatload of money.
No saving, Daryl, none at all. One bit, not one penny.
Kyra, can I email this to the board tonight, so they can see.
Absolutely.
Both of these.
Sure, absolutely. Yep.
Thanks.
Next question, thank you.
You're not gonna put another differing around my grandkids' necks.
So,
I'm telling you.
okay, so here's some of the details, and I don't wanna get too far into the weeds, but so the memo I just showed you had to do with the expiration of the federal E waivers, there's 14 of them. Some of them were positive, some of them were negative, just depends where you're standing. But the two that really affected us here in Greene was the Medicaid renewal, process based on SNAP, which, let's say Lucas talked about, there's a connection there. And that made it easier for you to renew those cases only during the emergency COVID period. The other one was the Medicaid renewal waivers of resource tests. They weren't looking at resource tests. They wanted to get these people into nursing homes who need care. So those are the two big ones that I'm looking at here. Now, they've already started. That's why that letter was sent out by the state Medicaid director. So on 8/31, I had to stop the renewals on the SNAP side. And then after June 30th, we had to start applying the resource tests. So those things have started. We're up and running and we've been doing it. But those are the two biggest ones that we have. Okay, so here I'm carrying 3,307 cases. The exchange is over 12,211. So I'm responsible for the 3,000. Again, the work engagement costs are going to rise. They haven't articulated what that's gonna mean. The state, they have nothing like we have here to get people engaged into work. We don't know what they're actually gonna do. So again, I'm just putting in there in yellow. I asked in the budget for the social welfare examiner because I know it's gonna happen on the SNAP side. At this point, I'm being told there's no changes to our administrative cap or our weekly share cap. Now, I know you find it hard to believe, but that's what I've been told so far, so no change in numbers. And we can see in the weekly shares it has been changed yet. So this is the things that the governor's office is saying, just so you can realize how big these numbers are. So for the state fiscal year 26 fiscal hole from the budget, we're looking at 1 billion and growing to 3 billion in state fiscal year 27. There's going to be $500 million in new costs to train the state staff on the eligibility and work requirements. 2 million New Yorkers will lose their health insurance coverage over the next decade. Uncompensated care costs increase by 3 billion annually. And 75 New York hospitals are currently classified as financially distressed and receive significant state subsidies. They're not named, it's just the numbers of it. So these are the current changes I'm aware of that we're trying to work through. Questions?
Where should we put our inflation reduction checks that we get?
So if you want to hear an update next month of what I know, I'm willing to tell you.
Mind-boggling.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm getting the impression.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can drink tonight. Thanks, Dave. When I saw the room.
Anything else to come before county services tonight?
Motion to adjourn, who's doing enough damage.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are closed. 8:25. Thank you.
I'm 2 packs of cigarettes a day,
Okay.
they can go oil.
Good.
Something's got to get. Right.
Okay, open up Public Works Committee at 6:25 PM. Let's hear from our Highway Superintendent, Mr. Scott Templeton. For hopefully some better news.
I propose, to go before her. Okay, going through my report. We're still plugging along on many of our projects. We're currently on County Route 40 and 61 in the right-of-way process. We're hoping to finalize the County Route 61 right-of-way. And that's why we put the authorization to go out to bid, advertise, go out to bid. We're hoping to get that done prior to next month, so we don't have to lose a month. Other ones that's still moving along, Black Clove Road Bridge, you will see up on the mountaintop that we reduced the lane width up there to 12 feet based on a red flag that we received from New York State DOT. That was completed. Now we have, basically, it's a one-lane bridge, stop, proceed when clear. The County Route 2 culvert replacement in the town of Prattsville. Contractor Keller Construction has started, and the precast beams are scheduled for early September, which they're actually moving quite quickly, which is good. Hopefully we can get that opened sometime the end of October. Same with Falky Road Bridge scour repair. Evergreen Mountain Contracting is working on that one. They're actually moving along on this as well. They should be finished up shortly. While the other projects are still in the works, projections are currently the same. You'll see on the agenda for solid waste, the maintenance building and scale house. We put out the bids and received multiple bids on that one, unlike the 23B slope stabilization where we received 0. This one was actually quite successful. Paving is continuing. We're hoping to get most of the paving in the mountaintop done in the next month. And contractor should begin same thing in the valley shortly.
The paving on,
23C?
yes. So they're above the high school, they're filling in the potholes. Is that getting a pave over?
No, not that section.
Okay, it's all
It's-
basically from Scribner Hollow
It's,
west.
it's from County Route 78 west to County Route 40.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any questions?
When do you think you're gonna have the little, community engagement meeting with Leeds area residents on the Leeds
We're-
project?
We're hoping that in the next couple of weeks. We'd like to get that out as soon as possible. We're actually talking with either the Irish Center and or the, Piccolos to have it out actually on site somewhere. It'd be helpful for the community to actually be out there, put up those storyboards and give an idea of what we'd like to do.
Okay.
If not, we'll have to do it here, which I don't think we're gonna get as much input, but we'd like to have as much input as possible, especially from the business owners in Leeds.
Thank you.
Maybe could we do piccolos?
We're hoping, we're talking with the manager
Are you thinking before Labor Day
for the,
for this community meeting?
absolutely. We're hoping by the end of this month. That's the goal, to try to get the word out. We would like the community to have a little bit of time to get notice.
You know, it's only about 3 weeks, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Want to do this. You know, we wanna.
I think the word spreads pretty quickly in that community. I know there's a lot of boards
Sure will, but
and the business owners are,
I'd rather not have it put out 2 days before we're going. to do
well, it's a mandatory 2-week notice anyways.
it. Just because we'll hear the feedback.
Correct.
Why did you only put out 2 days?
The 2 weeks gets you right about in the Labor Day, 2 weeks, a couple of days, so should be going out this week. Since you got Labor Day is what, 31st or the first? So
I got you.
you're looking at 3 weeks from today, it's actual Labor Day. So try to get it out maybe this week. If you don't wanna do it around Labor Day weekend, people are out of town.
And that's the question for that we have to work with the business owner and find out if the space is available. If not, we'll do it here and we can put it out tomorrow. That's the,
I agree with you, if you do it in Leeds, it'd be better because more people will
absolutely.
come.
You wanna get it closed? Closed what, Monday, Tuesday, right?
Right.
You wanna get it closed? Try to.
Scott, is it possible on all your paving, have a diagram of the county roads where it shows where you're paving? And you-
Yeah, I can provide that to you.
By that.
I know that,
body,
yeah, Kyle has that in our office.
Send an email to us all,
Okay.
so we know where you're doing your paving, different paving and.
Yeah, there's all different processes, whether we're just crack sealing or doing full depth reclamation to cold in place overlays. Yeah, well, we have it all mapped out.
How are the pavement readers working?
They're doing well. There's definitely some anomalies. We're working with the manufacturer with. We're trying to figure out why some of our newer roads are so low. They should be our best ones after they get paved, so we're trying to figure out what's going on. But we're getting a lot of data, which is good. We're just trying to straighten it out.
Guys, we got the contract for the paving.
There's two different ones. Mountaintop was Heidelberg, and Valley was, Callahan.
Scott?
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, I got 8 resolutions to go over. Okay, first one, authorizing county highway and solid waste superintendent to advertise for replacement of the county Route 61 River Road Bridge over the Cooksaki Creek. Bin 3-30291-0, Town of New Baltimore. Pin 1761-91.
Later.
Martinez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Setting form proposal for construction, contract administration, and special inspection services for Catskill Transfer Station new maintenance building project.
And off.
Handle and Leg, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Awarding electrical contractor for Catskill Transfer Station new maintenance building project. Handle Leg, all those in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Awarding the general contractor for Catskill Transfer Station new maintenance building project. I'll move that. Yulich and Handle. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Awarding general contractor for Catskill Transfer Station new maintenance building project. I'll move that again. Martinez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Awarding plumber contract for Catskill Transfer Station new maintenance building project.
Handle.
Later.
And the Linger. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Establishing capital project number 167, amended a capital project number 140, and authorizing purchase of real property known as 300 Route 23B, Catskill, New York. Yulich and Leg, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Establishing project number 169, transfer station maintenance building.
Handle.
Rivera.
Handle Rivera, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Like to move to go to executive session
More real estate.
for real estate. Discussion.
Second.
Second? Greg?
We will, yeah, we will very immediately follow it.